Welcome back to Vlogmas Day 13. This is the day. The studio is open today. I am ready to go. My houses look great. So I started off by unwrapping them. One of the roofs looks like it's pretty bone dry, so I have to be extra careful with that. And so the way that I built these, they didn't get that much time to dry, so I left them loosely wrapped in plastic up against a little sponge because the roof had to be slanted in a certain way to perfectly fit onto the base. I'm gonna put them together today and see if they're actually at the right angle. So this is me trying out all the different roofs because when I originally made them, each roof belonged to a specific house and I never marked them. So this was just a trial and error. They ended up all fitting pretty well besides this one. I don't know what happened here. I was really annoyed, but it's an easy fix. So I had to shave down the sides a bit more slanted so that the roof could actually hunker down into it. I was really careful to not shave too much because the roof does need to sit on the wall for some support. Here you can see this part is a little bit higher and that's what's causing the unevenness of the roof. So I went ahead and shaved that part down a little bit more. And this was just a game of back and forth to see how much I really had to shave down for it to fit. On a side note, I didn't really explain how I made the roofs, so you can see that I ended up putting this little lip on the inside. That's so that the roof isn't sliding around when the lid is on. I wanted to make a lid all the way around the bottom of the roof, like an entire lip, but I just didn't have time when I was actually making the houses, and so this was just the quick fix at the time. I think it turned out pretty well. I actually prefer it now because it allows for a little bit more give since everything is shrinking and drying differently, and it's easier for me to work this way, so it worked out in the end. And then I cleaned everything up with a sponge, especially the base, because there's all sorts of crumbs down there, and when these houses are fired, I don't want them to be sharp at any point. So I rounded out all the little bumps and the corners and the edges. Super happy with how they turned out, and here's all of them together finally. Yay, I'm so happy. So next I am on to adding my wax resist. I really thought about letting these bisque fire and then putting wax resist and then using a glaze, but I'm not gonna have time because I'm up against the clock here with the last firing scheduled for the studio. So I decided to add wax resist while it's leather hard, bisque fire it, and then seal it just with a clear high fire glaze and just call it a day. So I'm going to go around the edges of all of the houses. I really want them to look like ornate gingerbread houses. So I'm covering up all the corners and kind of rounding everything out. this is the part I've been waiting for, designing the actual facades of the houses. I had made a few sketches in my sketchbook just with the overall vibe, but once I actually started working with the wax resist, I thought I don't want to stick to the designs. I'm using them for inspiration, but I'm just kind of letting each house have its own personality as well. The trickiest part about this was making sure that the opposite sides matched, so I regularly had to flip it around to copy the design onto the other side. And once all of the facades were done, it was time for the roof. I cleaned up all of the front-facing edges with my wax resist because I want these parts to stay white. So even though this clay looks kind of gray, once it's fired, it's a really pure white. So the things that I'm adding wax resist on now, once they're fired, are going to be completely white. Painting the roof designs were really fun. I ended up making them all a different design, but oh my god, at this point I was getting pretty tired, honestly. Okay, I ended up taking a little bit of a breather for a lunch break. I just needed a breather. So when I came back, I accidentally broke one of the roofs. And thankfully, it wasn't the one that was completely bone dry. I was really annoyed, but I'm hoping that I can fix it. So I ended up scoring and getting the edges really, really wet and adhering it back onto itself. I'm really hoping that this works out and that it doesn't crack in the kiln, but I'm just gonna go with the flow. I'm gonna trust the process and fix it as well as I can. Here's all of the houses once they've been painted with wax resist. They each have their own design, and I don't know which one is my favorite, but I left the insides completely empty because I want them to be white on the inside. Next, I mixed up some glaze. So this is all underglaze. Pretty much the color you painted on is how it's gonna look. There's not gonna be very much change after the firing. I did add a little bit of this orange sherbet color because the brown that the studio had was really, really dark, and I wanted the houses to look a little bit more chestnut colored. So I'm hoping that by mixing in this orange, it can lighten up the glaze a tad bit, but I won't really know until after it's fired. Oh, this is so satisfying. So then I glazed all of the houses. Each face needed 3 coats of underglaze. Oh, just look at that. I love how the design appears. It's so satisfying, and it makes all of the work that much more worth it. So this was the first coat, and I ended up painting each house one by one and putting them down or setting them aside in a specific order so that I didn't forget how many coats of each I did. This is the final house here. I'm on my wit's end, but I couldn't be more proud of myself. And here are the houses once they are completely cleaned up and ready to go. They're gonna go into the bisque fire, and fingers crossed everything works out, and I will see you tomorrow.